All right. Boys. That I don't even know where to start with that one. Not really any way to spin it positive at all. That is just it's a bad loss. There's absolutely no other way to word it. It's a bad loss. I don't want to be prisoner of the moment here, but I would bet that's a top 10 Bill Self Big 12 loss of his career. You guys think that's fair?
Yeah, I mean, it was flat out ugly. And UCF obviously just got shit pumped this weekend. Just not a very good team at all. And KU just seemed dead. Typical Big 12 road game where you don't show up and play, and you get someone bites you in the ass, and just let them stick around. They had a big lead at the end of the first half, and then UCF goes on a 10-0 run, and KU doesn't score for 3 minutes, and they only end up being up 8 when they could have been up way more than double digits. And yeah, terrible on offense. We'll get into it, but feels like you got 3 guys in there late in the game that don't even look to score or be aggressive. 60% of your offense, where talked about it. I've said it all year. Like, there's going to be games where they score like 50, 55, 60 points and it looks ugly. And we're going to be like, oh my God, this team's terrible. Like, KU fans melting down. Like, there's going to be nights like that. You got 2 guys you have to worry about, and the other 3 are kind of just out there. I know KJ and DeJuan play hard. We love them, but there's 2 guys that can score. It doesn't seem very hard to game plan guarding KU.
Yeah. AB, I guess before I go, you have any initial thoughts, or should we just go off what he just said? Because I've got thoughts.
It's really ugly. I mean, in a 14-minute span or 13.5-minute span in the first half, they scored 37 points. What was the score at half? Was it 39-32, something like that?
Yeah.
35-20. I don't know. But they score 35 points in a 14-minute fucking span, and the other 25 minutes, it's the same thing that I've been worried about all year long with this team. They don't have an offense. And it sounds insane because you look at the roster, and you've got 2 guys damn near averaging 20 points a game, probably both All-Americans, and a guy that we love at point guard, and studs all around. There's talent everywhere. But this offense as a unit is not good at all. Like, it's not. And we're going to be number 1 in the country if we would have won tonight, but that's not going to happen anymore. And I honestly, like, I hate to say it, and I know it probably sounds emotional coming off a loss like that. We were never near the top 3 in the country. And we kept denying that the analytic websites that say we're more like a top 15, top 20 team, we kept denying that they might be right. And now we struggled with fucking Eastern Illinois. They're 320th in Ken Pom. We struggle with Mizzou, who's sub 100. We struggle with Indiana, who's sub 100 in the net now. We struggle with fucking Yale until the final 5 minutes of the game. Like, it's written on the wall, and it has been all year, and we just deny it because we keep winning these close games. This offense is not fucking good, and it's a problem. There's no answers to it.
Yeah, I mean, it is concerning, and I can already see it in the comments. Like, DeJuan is going to catch all sorts of shade. I think people are probably as frustrated as they've been with DeJuan and maybe his entire career. And like, we love him. We know what he is. He is what he is. But like, flat out, he has to be better. We're not going to win games, especially Big 12 road games, if DeJuan Harris plays that way. And yeah, like B-Turn said at the beginning, with El Marco just not, I mean, the past 2 games, he's just essentially been doing cardio, like just not affecting the game at all. And it's a problem. It really is a problem to go from, I mean, when you look back at some of the best Bill Self teams ever, you think about the backcourts, to have 2 guards, the guys that should technically have the ball in their hands the most often, neither of them can create a shot. It is pretty scary because we know what DeJuan is. It's not going to switch overnight. And so I don't know. It's kind of where I'm at. It's kind of the first time where I'm like truly a little frustrated with DeJuan.
Yeah. And back to El Marco, he attempted 0 shots tonight. I know late, I think there was about 4 minutes left. He caught one baseline wide open, could have shot a floater, didn't even look at the rim. So DeJuan caught a bunch of passes on the perimeter, doesn't look to shoot. I mean, it was wide open jumpers. Kind of made me think of the Kentucky game where we needed late buckets from someone besides Hunter and Kev. And yeah, no shit. Hunter and Kev and Dewan stepped into some threes and nailed them. Dewan did. And so he didn't even look at the rim. I know late, even when Hunter hit that three, Dewan had one on the left wing, swung it to Hunter. Hunter hit it, but Dewan doesn't even look to score. I think he had 6 assists in the first half. So he ended up with 8. So he obviously facilitates. We know he's going to do that. Just you would think a senior point guard who the staff has been tough on with shooting it more, being more aggressive, you would think at this point would kind of step up and I guess fill into that role where you're taking more shots, getting downhill, getting to the rim, making floaters, finishing around the rim. Like you can facilitate all you want, but this team needs their senior point guard to step up and score it a little bit, especially when you don't have another guard that can score it. You have a wing and a big. You need a guard that can go. And I hate saying this, but there's obviously a guy we recruited this offseason that it just losing that scholarship just kills, because there's so many guys in the portal that they could have went and got a guard that could go score, a guard that could create his own shot, and just losing.
Which, yeah, I mean, but that's on the staff. That's what you get when you take a risk on a guy that has a bad history and he turns out to be a bad dude. Like, it sucks. It is wild when you see Dewan go down and he's hurt, like he's cramping or whatever. And it's like, we don't have anybody else on this roster to play point guard. Like El Marco's clearly not there. So yeah, it is all very concerning. Now, AB, you had a rant there where it seemed like you're going pretty full, like, meltdown. Not that you're wrong to, but I tweeted right before we hopped on here that yes, this is bad. We should be melting down. This is a disaster. This is an all-time bad loss. But at the same time, this is what happens every single season, does it not? Like, I know we don't see this bad of a loss, but you have the TCUs of 2013. You have the Oklahoma States of what year was that? 2019. Yeah. I mean, you have really, really bad losses. But yeah, there's definitely. So I'm trying to decide, like, how deep is this meltdown? Because I don't know. I still think this team could figure it out. But man, losing to Central Florida is tough to come back from, and it feels like, I said last episode, like, I think a 2-3, losing 3 of 5 or 2 of 4, like, it feels like we will do that, and we've got a top 10 team coming out on Fieldhouse on Saturday that I know, AB, you're not a believer in, but well, I don't know. This team's got to figure it out, and they got to figure it out quick, because it's only going to – this is our easy stretch of conference play. So
yeah, I think the difference in, I probably will be wrong with this because Bill always figures it out, but I think the difference with this team struggling and losing a bad game in conference, yeah, it may happen often. The other teams don't struggle with the teams I mentioned before. Like, the past KU teams, they're not hanging tight with 320th ranked Eastern Illinois for 35 minutes of a game. Like, there's been concerns, and we've ignored them. I think partially right, partially wrong, and they might still be wrong. Like, who knows? Maybe Furphy continues to ascend and they figure out spacing, they figure out how to play. Dewan settles down a little bit, and we bounce back to what we probably should be, top 20-ish on offense rather than top 50 or whatever we're about to be when Ken Palm updates in 5 or 10 minutes. And I'm refreshing rapidly to let you guys know. But it's not, I don't know. When we lost to TCU in 2013, I wasn't worried going into that game because Cookie. Stop it.
That team
got
lost
a damn
3
cat rubbing her chin against my laptop like it's a scratch toy. I'm trying to talk about KU basketball.
Don't forget that team lost 3 straight games. That TCU was part of a 3-game losing streak. Yeah,
for sure. So, like, and again, it happens every year, but that team beat Ohio State on the road. Like, it's just, I don't know. Yeah. And we have good wins too. Like, I'm not saying we don't.
That's what's so hard.
The thing that really frustrates me, though, and we see it almost every game, is this KU team manages to look like both the best team to ever play college basketball and the worst team to ever play college basketball in the same 40 minutes twice a week. It's insane. That stretch that they had in the middle of the first half was one of the best stretches of basketball I've ever seen. And then they come out and it's like a JV high school team.
What I was going to say is, like, losing is bad, but I think what's worse is to be up 35-19 against UCF and then lose by we lost by like 4 points, 5-6 points. So that was you can't get outplayed for that long against that bad of a basketball team. Like that.
Yeah, this too.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
UCF right out of
Dawkins
zone, and
threw
it
a
was
zone.
it's like they'd never seen anything in their life. It's beyond frustrating, man.
Why
and
does
we're gonna
every
get zoned
game,
up?
Yeah,
we're gonna get zoned up all the time now.
Why would you not? Every game. So I don't know.
I mean, Hunter had 12 and 4. He had 4 rebounds. I didn't think that was even a possibility in a single game at KU. But he didn't. Him and Kev didn't get touches at the end at all. Kev hit a 3 to, I forget what it cut it to.
Cut it to, I think, 57, 56 or something like that.
Yeah, and then we took the lead right
Kev's
after.
Kev's the only guy that showed up. But yeah, they let UCF go on a 10-0 run. Like instead of being up 15-20, they were up 6 with 5 seconds left. They got a putback. Kev hit a jumper at the end of the half. So they could have been up 15. That's maybe the difference of the game. But yeah, the issue with me is like those older teams where we melt down and they lose games, like the Ochai year where they lose to TCU late, we melt down. Like we didn't really have many worries with those teams. With this team, we've had these worries even as we're winning games and only have 1 loss. So all these worries that we've been talking about kind of came to fruition tonight where they don't have a third guy that can score it. You can kind of key on Hunter in the post, double him. The teams kind of let KJ roam around, and obviously key on Kev too. So other guys got to step up from a scoring standpoint. And who's that going to be? Like, yeah, KJ can get putback dunks, putback layups, but it's not a guy that's going to stretch the floor, hit 15, 20 footers. Like we just know that. So who's going to be the third guy?
The long 2 late in the game was bananas. But yeah, so like if you're looking
that broke the backboard.
It was crazy. It's like, oh, long 2. It's what we drew up here. But no, yeah, I mean, it's got to be Furphy. I think we're all in agreement of that. We saw flashes in the first half. Like I was very excited for Furphy, and then doesn't play or doesn't do much after that. And yeah, I nothing was working tonight, so I'm not going to sit here and criticize Bill Self, but like was weird that they're in a zone and that El Marco probably got more second half minutes than Furphy. I'm not positive on that, but he definitely played down the stretch, which I just didn't make a whole lot. El Marco, it's sucks because he was awesome against Wichita State, and I really thought he turned a corner, and boy, has it gone downhill. So I don't know. I guess if you want to take one positive away from this game is that Johnny Furphy showed flashes of being like he could be the missing piece. But the problem is I think we have more than one missing. Like I think there's more to it than just a missing piece.
Furphy had 9 points.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marco didn't take a shot. He didn't take a shot the whole game. He played however many. He somehow was always in there until tonight, down the stretch, even in tight games. So Bill, I don't really pay attention too much defensively. Like I don't know how good El Marco is defensively, but it's either Bill wants him in there to guard or Bill wants him in there to go pro, which he obviously doesn't look like a pro. And Furphy, we've talked about it. Like Furphy gets out there, is kind of fearless. Will take jumpers, will drive to the lane. You have to play him right now over El Marco. Like you need a scoring threat, a guy that can shoot it from the outside, a guy that defenses actually have to pay attention to. Like Elmar, like you said, he's out there doing cardio. He's not facilitating. He's not like a lockdown elite defender. He's not shooting the basketball at all. Doesn't even look at the rim. So you have to play a guy that can shoot it a little bit and a guy that's not afraid. Like I know he's a freshman too, but that was obviously El Marco's first Big 12 road game, and he didn't contribute at all. And he's almost been as bad as you could be since the Wichita State game where we were hyping him up. And
what I can't figure out though is like, let's say that Furphy does turn a corner, or even El Marco. Let's say El Marco starts to average, 8, 9. I don't think that's happening. So let's say it's Furphy, because I think Furphy could. He's shown the most flashes. It's still, to me, though, I feel like, not to pick on DeJuan, but like I still feel like this season kind of hinges on if DeJuan Harris can be better, because he just has not. It's been a weird year from the jump. And AB, I think what you said at the beginning, where we've kind of been in denial, where it's like, well, the analytics say we suck. And
we had so many good wins.
And we're like, well, we beat these teams. And like, it's kind of how it's felt a little bit with DeJuan. It's like, we've all kind of noticed, oh man, DeJuan doesn't quite look like you would think a senior returning after starting 2 straight years. But in his defense, he's got to be tired. He doesn't get to sit because we don't have anyone else to put out there. And so that's concerning because it's only January. And if this team wants to make a run, DeJuan Harris is going to have to be really, really good.
People are asking if he had too much Sunny D on the plane and it messed him up for the game tonight.
Maybe. I'm open to all sorts of theories.
That sponsor could be cooked.
Also,
Sunny D might be out.
Let's have a conversation here. I mean, let's not act like they didn't beat Tennessee, Kentucky,
and
UConn. I mean,
are we lucky to be 1-1 in the league right now?
Yes, but also if we lost to TCU on Saturday, we would have won tonight. I promise you.
Yeah, it just we knew. I think I want to go back and find my clips because when old AB was saying we're not losing the game till February, I was like, we are. Dude, like you just can't keep getting away with what we were getting away with. It was, yeah. And the thing that sucks, I thought we were going to win the game. I really did. When we went up 1.
Oh, I thought it was over.
Yeah, it was like this is what these guys do. They sleepwalk, and then they just make plays late in the game. Brutal. I can't even remember how. I guess a turnaround jump hook by a guy that doesn't hit those shots is what killed us.
And it just happens every game. Every game that's tight, there's 1 or 2 guys on the other team that just has a career night and does things they never do against anybody else. This Diallo dude's a 50% free throw shooter. He's like Udoka Azubuike. And I don't know what his final line from the free throw line was, but I promise you he made more than 50% of them. It felt like he made every single one he took.
Well, Sellers was a 25% three-point shooter coming into the game. I think he went 4 for 7. What's going on with Timberlake? He was fighting people after the game. I've seen like 3 comments in the chat.
Well, he was in the crowd. Did you see the part where he was in the crowd?
I don't know.
After it was like
early in the game.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that. But
not to behind and like stole the ball and then fight.
Not to harp on him any more than like we have all year. But good God, I don't think he could have. I don't think you could be worse than he's been from a shooting standpoint. He catches the ball in transition too and fumbles it every single fucking time.
One ball,
fumbles it, misses the layup, misses the dunk. He kind of got bailed out with the foul, but can't make layups, can't make jumpers.
One ball just went off the top of his head. Now, I think it was maybe a bad throw, but the ball, you don't see guys just lose a ball off the top of their head on a fast break very often.
That's kind of why it's tough to be tough or mad at Bill for playing El Marco, because no one off the bench is really separating themselves. Like, yeah, you can say Furphy should play more, should play over him. It's not like Furphy has been lights out all year. Like, yeah, maybe he's been a smidge better than El Marco, but what is he doing drastically better than El Marco? So it's like Bill, I don't know. Like, you can't really be too tough on Bill.
Yeah, no, he's just juggling a bunch of guys that haven't been very good. And I think you have to accept that neither of them have taken the big enough jump yet. So, but I think, like, to me in this game, it just felt so obvious that Furphy was the guy to be in that game. If you're going to take a chance on a guy late in the game, and I don't know, it's like we said, we don't notice all the small things Bill does. We aren't in the huddle. We don't see all the little things like setting a screen right or boxing out or missing a rebound or just doing the right thing on a switch on defense. But, like, I was shocked how much he trusted El Marco late in that game. And
I'm just dying thinking about, like, AB talking about the first half of the Big 12 schedule.
Oh my God.
Like, we thought this UCF game wasn't. I know. We thought this UCF game wasn't even part of the schedule.
I made fun of you guys for saying it was going to be a battle. And then I woke up this morning, I was like, boys, it's going to be a fucking battle. We're going to I didn't think we'd lose. But okay, I do want to add one more thing on this El Marco and Furphy thing. It doesn't matter what we think. They're going to keep playing 25 minutes a night. At least El Marco is.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was going to say.
And honestly, like, we're talking now on how to win game to game. Like, obviously, Furphy, if we wanted to win the night, and that was the main goal, Furphy probably would have been in for more than he was in. I don't think that's what Bill cares about right now. I'm not saying he wants to lose, but this team isn't going nowhere if El Marco doesn't take the next step. Like, they're just not.
Yeah, but I agree.
So Furphy's going to have to as well if that's your fault. But, like, they can't just, like, forget about El Marco. Like, we're talking about we need to have depth. We need to have, like, a backup point guard. But, like,
can you pin Brady Vaughn's comment at 8:38, the first one?
I mean,
didn't know that, but it makes sense because he looked off tonight, body language wise, and just playing.
And it didn't make sense to hold him out as long as we did.
Okay, Banana Land moment of the week, and it's only Wednesday. The announcers questioning whether Hunter Dickinson should play the last minute 30 with 4 fouls.
I was screaming.
Take him out for 30 seconds. Let him sit for.
They talked about it for 2 minutes.
This is a tough decision for Bill. I kind of respect it though.
And then they kept being like,
if he fouls out, there's a minute left.
It was crazy. ESPN Plus just never fails.
Once I saw ESPN Plus, I knew the game would be tight, just like the TCU game. I don't know what it is, but
there's so much about ESPN Plus that I
guys
have issues with.
Find better announcers.
The announcers are bad. Their halftime's bad. The halftime is like you might as well be in the arena watching the big screen at halftime with the stupid shit that they put on there. It's Big 12 commercials. It's school commercials for the teams playing, and it's like backups for UCF trying to figure out what's inside the box in front of them. I couldn't stand it. You can't see the channel because it's ESPN Plus. You have to go to a damn different app.
I can't believe ESPN Plus doesn't. I can't believe ESPN Plus doesn't sell ads. What are we doing? Why are we watching loops all day? But let me tell you something.
I'd rather watch a loop than the stuff they're showing at halftime. Say, oh, this event's in a break. We'll be back in and just have a countdown, or give us YouTube TV Zen for all I care. That's the best.
Can we play the female announcer's call of Kobe Bryant's pick 6 right now?
Let's just try to do it ourselves.
Kobe Bryant, he's down
interception.
As he's at the 20 walking into the end zone.
Kansas is gonna win. I don't even know if that's what it takes her 30 seconds.
She's
tell everyone.
I just picture her like trying to think of like a word or something, like a big word. He's like running it in the end zone. She just realizes it.
One other thing from ESPN Plus, the announcers. Oh my God, I almost lost my mind. Coming out of halftime, they're talking about how there were KU fans there, and they were like, and this almost feels like, you know, when Vegas got pro sports teams and everyone wanted to go to Vegas when their teams were there? This is what it feels like with UCF joining the Big 12. I almost lost my mind. You cannot compare Orlando, Florida, and Las Vegas, Nevada as if they're similar destinations.
Orlando sucks.
It does, unless you have a Disney fetish, then yeah.
Unless you are a child or into Disney World, I don't know what would take you to Orlando, Florida.
Did you guys feel like embarrassed watching that at the end? It felt like their crowd and like bench vibe was like kids sports where the underdog that never beats the other team might win. And
it was bad.
It felt like TCU when Bill said the Topeka YMCA. Like it was.
Yeah, UCF's not nearly as bad as that TCU team, but I had very similar vibes when we got down 7-0. I was like, this doesn't feel like a conference game. This team doesn't feel like a real team, and we're going to fucking lose to them.
How many points did we score tonight? 60?
Huh? 60, yeah. 65, 60.
So we scored 25 points in the last 23 minutes. It was 35-19.
Really bad.
After not scoring for the first 4 minutes.
That's what I'm saying. Like, crazy. I think the worst part about this loss is not even just the loss overall. It's the fact that for 23 minutes, we were that bad. Like, that 23 minutes that we just played, we scored 23 points. Or wait, did we score 23 points in the second half? I don't know, something like that. Maybe
we had 37 and a half, so yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying we had 35 with like
we had 34 minutes.
So we scored 25 points in the last 24 minutes.
So let me say something. I wanted to say this earlier when the Dickinson knee issue, and I'm sure it's minor, but if you want to get real negative here, this team is really, really starting to feel like the preseason number 1 2019 Kansas team, 2018, 2019, because if you remember, and they beat a Tennessee team, they whooped Michigan State in a Champions Classic.
Grimes went off.
But then Udoka got hurt. And if Hunter Dickinson is unhealthy at all, this season will flip just like that season flipped where that team ended up being were they a 3 seed?
Could bring Uday back.
They lost by
4 seed.
4 seed lost by 1,000 points to Auburn. 1,000.
I mean, how many points are we scoring at Iowa State and at Houston? I'm telling you, dude, there's going to be a lot of these games. Like somehow KU's going to have to grind them out and get stops defensively and rebound. But oh my, there's going to be like at Hilton, we're going to score in the 50s. At Houston, we might score in the 40s, 50s. Like it's tough to predict that now, but I'm just saying there's going to be some ugly games. That's why I feel like Ryan, me and you were kind of just like, there's no just giving this team wins. Because like AB just talked about it, the Eastern Illinois game, I know that was it's going to be tough to get up for that, but you should coast in that game no matter what. And so I'm not going to give this team any games. Like I said last week, I'm not going to even give them Cincinnati. I'm definitely not giving them OU this weekend when every game's tight. I know they found ways to win games late, but now you're dealing with a potential Hunter Dickinson injury. So I'm not going to give this team any wins.
Yeah, and Brady Vaughn is making some other good points. We might just need to make him the fourth chair.
Come on.
It is stunning in a world of basketball that is shifted to heavy 3-point focused. You know, all the old heads say, "Oh, Steph Curry's ruining the game because all the kids like to only shoot threes." Why don't we have anybody that can make threes? Why are we constantly a team that can't shoot? Why do we keep having
DeJuan and Hunter make them?
Like,
that's what's annoying.
2 of our last 3 point guards, DeJuan, Marcus Garrett, and I guess Dotson was in there.
Dotson was good. He just didn't shoot
it
at a good clip.
Like, how do we keep getting this many guys that can't shoot? I mean, even McCullers kind of figured it out this year, but Marco can't shoot. KJ cannot shoot. Like, it's weird.
He can shoot.
It's wild, dude. Like, how do you end up with a team this bad? It's just, we said it from.
We had Grady last year. That's about it. Jay Will didn't shoot it as well as he had hoped. He still had a good year. Kev didn't shoot it as well as he hoped. It's kind of why he's back. So yeah, we really have it. Obviously, DT, Malik, CB.
Our best shooter is 7'2".
I was going to say, there's a comment. We did go out and recruit a guy that's a career 40% 3-point shooter, and he just fell straight on his face the moment he stepped in foot Lawrence.
That's true. Yeah, so, that's a good point.
And
you have Johnny Furphy, he is a good shooter,
and a guy that shot 40+% like every year at Towson. I know it's not.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Oh, nice. I thought you were talking about Hunter. Jesus.
No.
Good night.
Welcome to the conversation, B-Turn.
He's what's Timberlake this year? Someone said earlier, 25. I'd be surprised if he's 25.
25% from 3 would be a
dub.
Him going 1 of 3 the other day probably upped his percentage by 10%.
I love how I doubled down AP's comment about Timberlake. I didn't even know he was talking about him.
Going into tonight, he was shooting 28% from 3. Nicholas Timberlake was, and he was 0 for 1 tonight.
That's what sucks is you can say it's not a big 25%. Sample size, but if he stepped up and was hitting jumpers and finishing around the rim and defending, he would be playing over El Marco. And
this comment here, I agree wholeheartedly. We couldn't expect Timberlake to do what he did at Towson exactly. Open shots are the same if you're in Lawrence, Kansas, or Anchorage, Alaska. An open 3 is an open 3. But second of all, I forgot where I was going.
Mario.
Second of all,
I completely forgot where I was
going.
It's
it's really dark in
Anchorage. No. Here's what I was going to say. Yeah, 40% at Towson isn't 40% at KU. But with some of the non-con games that we had, some of the non-con opponents we had, like, you can't tell me that. I know I keep bringing them up, but like Eastern Illinois and Manhattan, like these teams aren't beating Towson. Like he had his chances against competition that he's used to, or even lower than what he's used to,
and was really bad. Yeah. Pin the comment from L Man Dude.
I mean, I think Kevin McCuller's going to go in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, probably. So I'm not saying that we don't have an NBA player on our team, but is it? I guess what I should say is
the draft class is so weak.
How many guys on this team will play more than 5 years consistently on an NBA team? Probably Furphy, hopefully.
Get a second contract.
And I guess we're El Marco. El Marco's going to figure it out. I don't know if it'll be this year, but he's going to play in the league. He's going to be, I hope, a first-round pick one day. McCuller. So, yeah, okay, never mind. El Man Dude. I think we got some NBA guys. They're just not playing like it. Not anywhere close. Let's see.
What if you guys had to predict right now after this loss? How many Big 12 losses do they end up with?
I was going to ask the same.
AP, you got to answer this one.
I was going to say
there's no way.
Here's the recipe. It's the same as every
12
year.
and 6 sounds great.
You're either 9-0 or 8-1 at home, and you hope to go 4-5 on the road. And right there is 13-5.
Yep. And here's the thing, and I know it's really hard to believe this right now. We will go steal a road game that we have no business winning. I don't if it's at Houston, if it's at Baylor, I don't know where it'll be. But we lost to TCU at Allen Fieldhouse last year by 25 points. And then we went in and won at TCU. We flipped those games. Like, we will hopefully flip this script. We will get one back. I still think 13-5 is where we'll finish. And I think we'll win the conference going 13-5. But
you're nuts.
So what's you're saying 6?
I think I'd be happy with 12 and 6. I think mean it's the best conference in the country. We still got
just rattle off the
8 more road games. We'll definitely lose to Houston once. I'm not saying Houston's a wagon, but they're gonna make it tough on us at least one game. I think we'll lose to Baylor once. We'll lose at Iowa State. That's 4. I can't even think of the teams in the league. BYU, how many times do we play them? Once or twice?
Just once at home.
See, we're giving us home wins too. Like, are we gonna run the table at home 9-0 in the league? When you got Baylor, you got Oklahoma, we'll probably lose. Are we at OU?
Yeah, we are late in the year.
Yeah.
I bet we'll lose one of the at Oklahoma. Like, we'll lose in Stillwater or Norman.
So what I'll tell you, I will agree.
If we lose in Stillwater, we're not losing in Stillwater. We have to. Okay, here's the deal about Stillwater and West Virginia. Both those teams are worse than UCF is, at least on KenPom, pretty significantly. Both of them are sub 100 teams. You're going to win those 2 games.
Do you see us going into those arenas and controlling the game, though?
Yes. Gallagher Iba will be like 60% full, like it always is, even though they claim it's one of the best places to play basketball. How good is Baylor?
Yeah. B-turn. We're falling in the trap that we fall into every year, and the fan base does
12 and 6 is not a bad record in the league.
It's not. I'm just saying we're not losing Oklahoma State or West Spa. That's
us just sitting here being like, at Iowa State, loss. At BYU, loss. Like,
well, they're going to lose 3 or 4 road games. Is kind of my point.
Yeah, I know.
5 and 4 on the road.
I'm just saying, yeah, we will 100% go 12 and 6 or worse if this team doesn't improve. But we will improve. We will be better. We will steal a win, whether that's at BYU, at Iowa State, at Baylor. I don't know what it'll be, but we will. I don't know.
If you're going to that second half of the Big 12 schedule with 2 losses, I think you'd probably lose 6. Those last 10 games. I mean, at Bramlage will be really tough. Like, K-State's not a bad team. They have a couple good players. They just went into Morgantown, and that was – I'm not saying we're even with K-State, but that was a 1-point spread. Like, West Virginia actually has some decent players. They got Jesse Edwards, Kier Krisa, Raekwon Battle, who was really good at his previous school. I forget where he went. He came from a mid-major, but –
also K-State just beat UCF by
25.
A lot. Yeah. It's bad.
I don't know. KenPom projected 11 and 7 before Big 12 play even started, right? I'm not saying they're right, but now you're 1-1 and could have been 0-2. I'm not trying to say we should have lost to TCU, like they won the game, but man, 5 and 4 on the road is great any year. It feels, I mean, you have a winning record on the road, and then maybe we 8-1 at home. So you're 13-5.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
That's where I'm going.
Like, the next 6 games coming up. How many of those do you actually think we lose? Because I mean, maybe Iowa State, and I know I guess I can't say this anymore because I was the same way with UCF and we just lost that. But even past Bill Self teams, when they have a bad road loss, a bad conference loss, bad non-con, whatever it is, they don't usually have 2 historically bad losses in the same season. And this, I mean, I'm telling you guys, losing at Oklahoma State or at West Virginia would be a probably much more significant loss than losing how we did tonight. Just based on analytics and stuff. Yeah, Oklahoma State's 103rd. And West Virginia 145.
Yeah,
these teams are not very good. And Jesse Edwards is hurt too. He didn't play last night. Who knows how long he's out.
We lost the game. You can't lose, and now we have to go win all the games we have to win. Like, there's no margin for error. in those cupcake games now. We
Right. Do you hand us the win Saturday against OU? Like, are we definitely winning that game in your mind?
No, absolutely not. Definitely. There's no definitely with this team. But here's the thing that I have there's no logic to this, but like, haven't we won? I wish Adam Sullivan was here with stats for us.
Oh,
but like, haven't we won like 30 plus games in a row at Allen Fieldhouse against OU? Like, it's something crazy. And I don't know if you remember, we were down like 14 last year in Allen Fieldhouse with like
Frank's senior year,
7 minutes to play, 5 minutes to play, something crazy, and we came back and won. It was just one of those classic. So yeah, OU is scary. Why is there so much Bryce Thompson talk?
Because he's going to rain. He's going to hit 6 threes against us.
Bryce Thompson's not the answer to this.
He will have one. No, he's talking about Oklahoma State. He said Bryce Thompson's going to rain threes.
Earlier, somebody said the things I would do to have Bryce Thompson on this team. It's like, that is not what we need. We do not need long twos mid-range game, but
2019 is not a bad comparison because the way Bill talked about Quentin Grimes is kind of how he talked about El Marco, and we kind of had high hopes for him, which it's kind of tough because El Marco wasn't going to start.
Oh, boy.
In that one.
Yep, we're coming in hot, boys.
Yes. The meltdown is on. That's how you melt down, Derek.
Keep them coming, boys.
Oh, man.
I don't know. When's the next year we're going to make the tournament? Because a lot of these guys will probably have Hunter back next year. Furphy
2030, I think we
at
could.
best, yeah.
A couple good recruiting years.
Are we still going to get the
couple coaching cycles?
What do you say? I mean, yeah, really. They were dead. I mean, he just commented again, but they looked asleep tonight. That happens a lot on the road. Like, they expected to go in there and dominate. They just saw UCF lose by 25.
Do we think it changes anything?
We played so good for a stretch.
Do we think it changed anything that they were in Orlando for 2 nights instead of just 1? I'm just simply asking. They had to leave early because of the snowstorm that came through. And I don't know, throw off their routine, whatever it is. They haven't played many road games so far. I guess they've played neutral. So
I was just going to say being in Orlando, period, probably sucked in that they
I'd simply ask them to look at the Weather Channel app and search Lawrence, Kansas while they're in Orlando and and to tell me right now that they'd rather be in Lawrence. I don't know. Mine's always fucked. I think you're good.
Yeah. No. Who are some former Jayhawks that would have the most fun in Orlando for 2 nights?
Brandon Green.
Jeff Graves. Oh, God, BG.
No, dude. J.R. Giddens. Absolutely. There's so many strip clubs down there.
I don't know how long we have to wait, but we got to get someone from the 2016 team on here to tell Brandon Green stories.
I think we could get Dot.
We can just get...
Or not Dot. Who was telling us that he had... Oh, no, that was
Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins it was. Yeah, it was Wiggins. Yeah.
No, it was Vic. It was
Joel
Vic's
Embiid?
Dot Dot was like he had stories on Vic, but then he didn't tell him on the pod.
We just need to get Skinny Chris on here and just tell BG stories.
Yeah. Okay.
He's due for an appearance.
He is due. I don't know where to wrap this up, but
I'll wrap it up right here. This question.
Tyshawn, yeah, he would have had fun.
That's honestly.
No. I don't think we do, man, dude. I don't think we hang a banner. Maybe
I got us winning the NIT though.
Are we a 1 seed? What region will we be in the I guess there aren't regions.
Well, Houston will be above us. That's why they were above us in the latest bracketology. He knew we were going to lose tonight.
Dork.
I was triggered by that, and I still am. Would
we still be a 1?
Hey guys, breaking.
Please be something.
Houston only lost by 4 points last night, and KU lost by 5 points last night. So remember that when mid-March comes around and we're watching
that
the
1 point alone drops us to the 4 line. So that'll
they were more competitive.
I am begging Ken Pomeroy to update his fucking website, dude. Game ended 45 minutes ago.
Does he even care anymore?
Oh,
start running around.
The meltdown's getting good. We're questioning like our guy Brady questioning if we'll be a
what if we were 0-2 right now?
We will not be. I will make a personal promise. This team will be a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4 seed. I promise. I guarantee it.
Clip it. Put it out on social.
I threatened to cut off my foot when I said that David McCormick would be a
national champ,
good basketball player at one point. And boy, did it take a while, but my foot is safe.
More than good. Elite. Man.
Okay. I'm gonna spin this positive one last time. I really haven't, but I'm gonna spin it again. We have a stretch coming up where we could win 4 of our next 5, right? At OSU, at West Virginia, at Iowa State, but then you have OU, and who's the other home game?
Cincy?
I don't know. Cincy, right? Yeah. So you got to assume that you win at OSU, you win at West Virginia, you win the 2 home games, and if you can just beat Iowa State, just go beat Iowa State, and all of a sudden I feel like we are back in, I don't know if I'd say driver's seat, but
everyone's going to beat up on each other. We know that about the Big 12.
Like that's all I'm saying. If you flip Iowa State and Central Florida, if we're talking in a month and we have 1 loss and it was Central Florida, or in another world, we beat Central Florida, but then we lose to Iowa State, like we could live with that. So like maybe it's a lot to ask, but I do think we could win the next 5 games.
Yeah, I guess with the OU game, I feel like I know it's going to be competitive. Like it's going to be a tight game this Saturday. Usually it goes our way in Allen Fieldhouse. But I don't see KU just running away with it. And I hope Hunter's good. I mean, if he's 70, 80%, I don't know what he is right now, but it's obviously going to be a game. They're well coached. They're obviously ranked. I think they're losing right now to TCU, but I don't know. I can't just give us all those wins. Like I said earlier, I still think at West Va or at I know one of those games is going to be tight. I'm not saying we're going to lose, but
yeah,
I'd say both of them are going to be tight. We're not just going to. I don't know.
I can't believe we were winning 35-19 against UCF and couldn't find a way to just play. I mean, we could have just played incredibly average the next 25 minutes of that basketball game. To not get outscored by 17 points against UCF, we couldn't do that. Like, that's what's brutal. To be up 35-19 and lose that game is crazy. It's crazy.
We went like 5 or 6 minutes scoreless in the second half. Didn't score a fucking point. Like, you can't knock down a jumper or get to the line. At some point, Kev shot 2 free throws, and they said that was the first time KU had shot free throws all night. Like, you can't get downhill and get fouled, get to the line, get an and one, knock down an open jumper against UCF. I know they're good defensively, but good God. They scored 19 points in the first, 17 minutes of the half? Like, you got to bury teams. They haven't done it really all year. Like, who is a really good team that we kind of just – and UCF's not even really good, but who's a team that we just put away or blew out? Like, even the really good wins we talk about, and I know those are good teams. Yeah, shockers.
Yeah. Okay, I want to end on this note. Chat, you've got to participate with this one. Everybody, before we part ways, has to say something positive about this basketball team. Right now, chat, light it up. Give us a positive. Go. This will be really, really awkward.
Bill Self's the coach.
Good one. Good job, AB. B-turn, anything positive?
We have 2 potential All-Americans.
Sharon, there we go.
Wow. Bang!
Sharon Collins. We'll be fine. Yes. Wow, thank you, Sharon. Looking for some positivity. KJ plays with energy. Just a guy says that. The bench woke up.
We have 2 All-Americans.
Lots of upward potential. I like this. Positivity before we all head off and read Twitter, where I promise
I can't do it.
It's going to be a debacle, which is fair. If there was a time to melt down, I think losing this game in the way that we just did, I'm not going to be too judgmental of people that are melting down right now because that was bad. It was really bad. Anything else?
Is this our last episode of the week? Braden, do you want to do Chiefs at some point?
Yeah, probably should. We play at 1 Saturday, so I mean, if it's a tight game or something crazy happens, we can get on and go live. I'll probably be at Arrowhead in negative 20-degree weather, which
that's just psychotic, dude. No way.
Sports.
You're going?
Mike Jones wake-up game. I like that.
Anyways, KU's going to win by 30 on Saturday is my official prediction.
What's the early line going to be? Because I do think there is an opportunity to catch KU at a very
That's why
low...
I'm waiting for KenPom to update.
What was TCU?
We were -4 going into the game or going into today.
We're -9 against TCU.
I bet it's 4 or 5.
Or was it 9 or 7? No,
what's the OU score?
It was 9.5 because I was talking that they hadn't beat TCU by double digits in like half a decade.
So it'll probably be like 4 or 4.5 on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll see what Oklahoma does tonight, but
they're down 40-34 at half.
They might hop us in KenPom. What if they're favored?
How many teams are ahead of us in the Big 12 on KenPom?
I have no idea. Cookie.
Jameer Nelson Jr.
Let's see. Going into tonight. Why does it order like that? This is so stupid. Yeah.
But Houston, 3 spots below.
Baylor, BYU. Iowa State's ahead of us now.
What do you think our offense goes to? 30. It's 38th adjusted offense before Mr. Ken.
It was so bad tonight.
Can you text Ken for us and see what the fuck he's doing?
The women's team beat Baylor tonight?
Yeah, saw that earlier.
What a win.
What a win.
We should have done a whole episode on that and pretended like this men's game didn't even happen.
So funny.
Yeah.
Just like at the end of our women's recap, we could have been like, oh, and it looks like the men lost to Central Florida tonight. Tough.
We're just good at every sport, really. Football, volleyball, women's basketball. Men's is on the rise.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I almost don't even want to get off here until KenPom updates. It's usually like 20 minutes after the game. We're running at an hour right now.
The algorithm is.
Connor asked about the Chiefs receivers. AB.
We'll talk about that later in the week. No, I got to get off of here. I can't talk about this anymore.
You just said I can't.
Ryan's got furniture to move. I know, but that's just going to frustrate me even more, and I'm going to I'll be on here till 10:30 if I see it before, so I might as well get off.
Do you know Nick Saban retired?
Do you know Lance Leipold's going to Alabama?
Stop.
I'm so scared. Not about Alabama or Michigan, but like the Domino's boys. It's been an afternoon.
It's pretty terrifying, but we can't start that rabbit hole right now. So,
no.
All right. Well, thanks for coming to the Meltdown. Fun stuff. The Hawks are 1-1 in Big 12 play with a loss to Central Florida. That is a sentence that I thought I would never say in my life. Imagine saying that 5 years ago or even 3 years ago. It's wild. Sucks.
I guess a quick calm down would kind of be Sharon's 09 team where you didn't have any starters back really at all. I don't think you had one starter back. They still got a 3 seed and should have made the Final Four. So, I mean, Cole played in the Final Four. Estott obviously made some big plays in the Final Four, but that team had a new starter in Brady, new starter in Tyshawn, the Twins. Yeah, we're all worried about that team. We're all worried about 2012. Those teams both could have made Final Four.
2012 lost to Davidson. 2019 made a Final Four, lost to Washington at Sprint Center in one of the worst basketball games you'll ever lay your eyes on. So, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. We know this team will improve. Bill Self teams always improve. They will. I think my bigger question is, what does them improving get them to? Like, can they get to the point where they improve enough to be able to compete for a national title? I don't know. That's the one thing I'm not sure on.
Yeah, I have a tough time picturing this team getting hot 6 games in a row. Like, it's tough to imagine it. I mean, it's tough to imagine it for anyone, really. It's tough to do, but I don't know, man. Got to definitely, obviously see more. You need more than just Kev and Hunter, 2 great players, All-Americans, but you need a guard that can go.
I got some positivity to end this really quick. Honestly, I do. There was a team that played at Kansas, within the last, say, 3 to 5 years. And let me go through some of the games. They beat number 43 Iowa State by 1 point at Allen Fieldhouse. They beat Oklahoma, who was number 30, by 3 points. They beat K-State, who was 61st, by 3 points. They had to go to double overtime against Texas Tech, followed up by losing by 20 at home against Kentucky. We had the same doubts. This team stinks. This team isn't athletic enough. They're not strong enough. They're not fast enough. They don't shoot the ball well enough. And then what fucking happened? They lose at Baylor, they lose at TCU, and then they go on a quiet 11-game win streak to win the national championship. So there's talent to do it. I have to see it before I can believe it. But the last time we won a national championship, we were having very similar conversations about the roster and how the team was looking.
Doesn't Big Dave have a year left? Have Big Dave come run the high-low with Hunter and just have Big Dave chuck threes.
Bring back the time where Dave and Udoka were starting at the 4 and 5 together.
Also,
that's the craziest thing.
The problem with that comparison
2022
is
started 3 NBA players.
Yeah, and they had 2 point guards that you could say either one of them could start, and this team's backup point guard's KJ Adams. So I guess we'll see.
Okay, let me just I realized earlier that I said the template, the script for every season. This is why I tweeted back in November. Here's my prediction for the season. KU will probably lose 1 to 2 non-conference games. Check. We'll have a bad loss or 2 in January. Check. Fans will melt down. Check. Next, Bill Self will call them soft. I don't think he did that yet, but I don't know if this team will be called soft, but maybe.
No, he loves Kev, KJ, and Dewan too.
Yeah, which is why I'm also really confident this team will figure it out. They will start to look good in February. They'll win the Big 12, get a 1 seed.
Look at the last comment.
Yeah, I got to get out of here, boys. These comments are just going to get me so fired up. It's going to get me so fired up.
Best case is Sweet 16. Yeah.
No,
but but the other one,
likeliest first round loss.
That team had wings who wanted to score once. The team has Kevin McCullough averaging 20 points a night. He'd be the second player under Bill Self to do so.
Yeah, I mean, we have, according to Vegas, we have the second and third favorites to win the Naismith Award.
Yeah,
we're fine. Need someone to step up outside of those two guys. We know we've said this all season.
Yeah, we're fine.
And we only had one loss.
This is how it goes. It's fun to melt down. It wouldn't be fun to be a fan if we didn't melt down, but now we all need to lock on. Now we need to lock in, get positive, and everything's going to be all right. I got to go. I'm going to get
big game Saturday.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Thank you guys for being in here.
See you guys. Thanks for listening. Rock Chalk.